Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, is supported by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with code CLUB at 22. Your balls will thank you. Hello everyone and welcome to Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and welcome to our reaction to the news that seemed pretty much inevitable over the past couple of days. Gerrard has joined Aston Villa as head coach. I am your host, Scott Carney. Joining me to discuss, to vent, to accept the departure of Gerrard as Rangers manager and to discuss what is next for Rangers is Ali Pearson. Ali, how are you?
I've had better days, to be honest. I was set up to record our Walter Smith tribute tonight, but obviously this news is broke, so we have to do it. We're doing a live one, so it'll be interesting to hear everyone's thoughts on it. So I kind of looking forward to getting into it, to be honest.
Yeah. Ryan Haymarsh, how's it going, mate?
Do I look happy? Do I look content? Let's do this tonight, yeah.
Yeah, Scott Gemmell, how's it going, mate?
Oh dear, it's been a weird day of ups and downs and anger and frustration and acceptance a wee bit. Aye, we'll get into it.
We will get into it, yeah, we are going to get into it. We are live on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, so leave us a comment, let us know how you're feeling. Before we get into it, I will read the statement released by the club earlier this morning. I'm sure everybody's read it, but just in case people have not. Rangers can today announce the departure of manager Steven Gerrard to Aston Villa. Gerrard moves to the Midlands club, having played a key role in the significant growth of the Light Blues in numerous areas during his 3.5 years at Ibrox. Rangers now has an outstanding, highly competitive playing squad, which is capable of both winning and entertaining on all fronts, with the highest of standards now also prevalent throughout the football department. In European competitions, Rangers have qualified for the group stage football for 4 successive seasons and the knockout stage football in the last 2, improving not only the club's standing on the continent but also that of Scottish football. Domestically, the Rangers have flourished under Gerrard, with the work accumulating in the club claiming their 55th title last season on the back of an unbeaten campaign. He now leaves Rangers with the club top of the Premiership with a Premier Sports Cup final to look forward to, and the opportunity to qualify yet again for the knockout stages of the Europa League. Rangers chairman Douglas Park commented, "I would firstly like to put on record my thanks to Steven for his outstanding efforts over the last 3.5 years at Rangers. He has provided us with some unforgettable moments, not at least delivery of the Scottish Premiership title. Back to Ibrox last season, having not lost a match in the entire campaign." Sporting director Ross Wilson added, "Firstly, I want to thank Steven for the work, dedication, professionalism which he has dignitely carried out in the role of Rangers manager." He goes on to pretty much thank him. It's a very nice worded statement by Rangers, to be honest, and it's finished with Rangers Football Club would like to put on record their thanks to Steven and his staff and wish them every success in the future. They will always be welcome at Ibrox. So Steven Gerrard did release a statement. Well, he was quoted in a statement for Aston Villa. However, I will read his Instagram post. "To say a heartfelt thank you to everyone associated with Glasgow Rangers, especially the fans, for the love and support you've all shown me during my time in Scotland. Winning 55 will always hold a special place in my heart. Each and every one of you played a part in that, and believe me, there will be many more to come. I hope in time you can understand and accept my decision to move on, but I honestly fell in love with the club and will always follow the team. Once a Ranger, always a Ranger." Ali, I'll come to you first, mate. The timing of this is not great, and I think that's probably what's annoyed people the most, I think. But what's your feelings on this?
Yeah, I think deep down, every Rangers fan, if they've been through it themselves, always knew Steven Gerrard was going to leave at one point. Possibly had a chance to leave at the end of when he won the title last season, but he wanted to crack it to the Champions League. It's the timing. That's what it is. If he'd left at the end of last season, you could have went, "Thanks, Steven, well done. Maybe why didn't you stick around for the Champions League?" But it gives you time to build for the next season. It's the timing. It's where we are at the moment in terms of our football club. We've got a massive game in a week on Sunday away at Hibs. Then we've also got the Sparta game, which is basically a shoot-off to get into the next round of the Europa League. And after that, it's December, which is a dreaded schedule too. So it's really the timing for me that it's not ideal. It isn't ideal. But in the flip side, he could turn around to say, well, the Aston Villa job, it's just appeared now. So similar to Brendan Rodgers when he left Celtic, he had to take the job then. He couldn't take it at the end of the season. And Villa's probably said the exact same thing to Gerrard. You need to come now. You can't wait. And yeah, it's disappointing, but no man is bigger than Glasgow Rangers. And to me, thanks very much, Stephen. He brought us back the title, back where we rightfully belong. But we need to move on and we need to look for the next guy, because we can't sit about like the other side of the city, pissing about for 3 months. And I would like to think Ross Wilson has got a plan for this, what has happened today. He'll have targets there, and yeah, we need to move fairly quickly, but at the same time, we can't make an arse of it.
Yeah, it won't be the first time we probably say that there is no man bigger than the club, and it's true. I stand by it. I don't care who the manager is. You're still not bigger than the entire club. But I think it is just the timing. We'll get into this in a lot more detail, obviously. Ryan, I'll come to you, mate. Your thoughts on today's news?
Disappointed in Gerrard. I've got to be honest. I'm disappointed that he's chosen to go to. I think I probably made a point in the pod a couple of weeks ago about the Newcastle link, and I said they were a mediocre club. And it's maybe a slight bit of arrogance on my behalf, but I do think he's going to a mediocre club again and going to Aston Villa. I do think that these job opportunities for Gerrard will come up probably every second week, the way the merry-go-round goes down in the Premier League. So I'm disappointed in him that he's chosen to go to Aston Villa at this time of the season. As Ali's said, it's a timing that's frustrating, but he's gone now. We need to focus our energy on getting behind the next man, because Rangers do move on. Rangers are bigger than Steven Gerrard, and we will move on. I think a lot of the reactions due to the shock of it, as you and I were speaking before the pod started, it happened very, very quickly. It was like he was linked with Villa, and before you knew it, he was down in London having talks. Whether you want to think that's been going on for a few weeks or not, it doesn't matter. He's gone, and we need to move on, and we need to get our next man.
Yes, that's exactly it. As I say, I have been through a roller coaster of emotions. I'm not going to lie, and it's all happened very, very quickly. It's a weird one, but I say we'll get into that further. Scotia, your thoughts on Gerrard?
Yeah, it's been, as I said, it's been a weird day. I've been having rational thoughts. I've been having irrational thoughts. I've been screaming at Gerrard. I've been like, it's not about Gerrard. Like the guys say, the big thing for me, it's the timing. Even taking into account the next two games we've got, December is an absolutely jam-packed fixture list, and it's a massive point of the season. And it just feels like I'll probably revise how I feel. I've calmed down today because I stopped myself from going on social media about lunchtime, because it was making me, sometimes it was making me angry, sometimes it wasn't. It's a really weird feeling, because it's the first time that a successful manager really has left in the middle of a season for me. I was only like 4 years old when Souness left, which was at the end of, like, I think it was April 1990 he left, or 91 he left, and it was at the end of the season really, whereas this one's not even halfway through the season. And it's a weird feeling, because all the other times that a manager's left, it's either been Walter Smith coming out and saying I'm stepping down at the end of this season, or it's been managers that have got sacked because the results have been bad, or leave by mutual consent. So it's a weird feeling, and it's still kind of trying to process it. And as I say, it's just, mine's going all over the place. Sometimes I'm rational about it, sometimes I'm irrational. So yeah, I think that'll be the case for the next few weeks, and as well, see if we end up getting beat in the semi-final and then get beat by Sparta. I think my mood will change even worse, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to go from one extreme to another on this pod. I was saying to you boys before we went live there that I have just went through different phases. I've cursed at Gerrard today. I've went, okay, I can understand why, and I fell in love with Gerrard. I'm not the only person that did. I fell in love with the man. Everything about him, I was like, yes, he's the stature of the man, absolutely everything. But I don't think really that it's down to Gerrard leaving. It's down to the timing and the fact that, well, it's not been confirmed yet, but the whole backroom staff's going with him. McAllister's going, Beale's going, Culshaw's going, and it's a complete overhaul for Rangers to have to go through at quite a critical point in the season. As again, I feel like I'm kind of repeating what you guys have said, but I think my overriding one is why now? Obviously, I know there's no guarantee that Villa were going to come back for him or anything like that. I think the timing is horrible, to be completely honest, and I am disappointed and I am angry about it all at the same time as accepting it. It's a weird feeling to have, but I still go, Aston Villa, really Aston Villa. In my personal opinion, this is a massive risk for Gerrard. I don't care really what anybody says. This could go terribly wrong for him, and that dream that we all know that he wants will slowly drift away from him, and it won't slowly drift away for him. If he fails at Villa, it will pretty much disappear altogether because Liverpool will not take the risk. The money and the stakes are far too high for Liverpool to take the risk on something that they don't believe in. Yes, they believe in Steven Gerrard, the man. He is a legend of their football club, but if he fails at Villa, he's not got really much left. Again, I've heard different people saying about the way where we are just now in terms of we're not in the Champions League. Maybe if we'd got into the Champions League, we wouldn't even be sitting having this conversation. The fact that that Gerrard's went to Villa, so there's a lot of things at play here, and we're never really going to know the full details, which adds to the frustration because we'll never know. It's never going to come out to what exactly happened. So it's one of them ones that you'll speculate all night long and still probably not get close to what the real truth is. Ali, there was rumours. There has been rumours kicking about. I know obviously there's a lot of rumours. Everybody all of a sudden has an inside track, but there's ones that continue to kind of pop up, and one that I'm going to take a bit of a stab at. I won't name the person, but there was rumours that he'd kind of changed this season in terms of he didn't really have the same buzz. There was not really the same intensity in terms of team meetings, etc., etc. Do you think there's anything in that? We have briefly touched on stuff like that on the pod.
Before we come on, we were kind of saying that we've said that a few weeks ago. He looked a bit of a frustrated figure at times on the touchline, even with the press. He was a wee bit snappy at times. Only Steven Gerrard could answer those questions. And will he ever answer them? We'll never know unless he brings a book out or something way down further down the line, and they might say in his book or something. But I don't know. And going to Villa, I mean, we talked about it the other night, and Christ, it pretty much broke after our podcast, saying he was near enough going, which was typical. We all sat here, similar to Ryan, and I'm going, Aston Villa. And I'm going, to me, Gerrard's a guy that wants to win. He gets the buzz of winning. He's been at Liverpool, winning things, winning Champions Leagues. Comes to Rangers, you need to win every week. You're challenging for trophies. You're challenging in Europe. He's going to Aston Villa. Aston Villa's main priority is to stay in that league and finish mid-table. That's probably the best they're going to get. Is he going to be challenging for cups? No. Is he going to be challenging for Europe? No. So I don't know what buzz he gets out of that. And I agree with you, Carney. It's a dangerous game he's playing. He could have stayed at Rangers, and he could have, and it's all if buts and maybes. He could have stayed at Rangers, won the league, won a cup, left at the end of the season, and his stock's as high as it's ever been. The flip side, he could have not won the league at Rangers this season and not won any cups, and then his stock goes lower again. That's football for you. And it's the same with going to Villa. If he goes to Villa and it doesn't work out for him, where does he go for there? It is a dangerous game, but that's the world of football in terms of where you go with managers and how you try and get back up. I mean, you look at Brendan Rodgers. He had to... his stock was high in terms of when he was at Liverpool, and then they failed, and then he had to reinvent himself again, and he's trying to build himself back up again. But it's it's disappointing when it's Aston Villa. See if it's a top 6 team or something, you could go, right, fair enough, but Aston Villa. And that's no disrespectful to any Aston Villa fans watching this live either. You're probably you're a big club in Birmingham, but you're not bigger than Glasgow Rangers, sorry. And it's disappointing. I think we're all just disappointed, but we need to move on. We really do need to move on now.
Yeah, we do, and we will. That's the thing. We will. This will pass. We'll then move on to the excitement of a new manager, and who knows what the rest of the season holds. I mean, generally, I think Scotia, you were mentioning that no Rangers manager has come into a job like this where it's you're cruising. Well, not cruising. I don't mean cruising. That sounds like we've already won the league.
It's attractive.
We've not won the league. Very attractive because we've got a good squad. We are 4 points clear. We've got a chance of getting into the next stage of the Europa League. We've got a semi-final coming up. So the job is very attractive to someone. It could work in their favour. It could also go terribly wrong for them. But that's the world of football, I suppose. I don't think there's really any doubt about that. Ryan, I'll come to you. In terms of his legacy, are you even at the point where you can think about his legacy and what Gerrard's left and what he's done for the football club, or are you more just, thanks, Stevie, see you later?
I think it'd be wrong to kind of comment just now. I think there's a lot of emotion with the fans because of the shock of it. So my initial reaction just now probably wouldn't be reflective of what he has done for us. What I will say is, and it might be against some fans' opinions, is I don't think Steven Gerrard has proven himself in Scottish football. I think, yes, he won that title we all wanted. He broke their hearts, and I'll never forget him for doing that. He goes down in history for it. I just thought he would have a bit more ambition about him in terms of, and I know the Scottish game is nowhere near the Premier League, and that's where it's at for him, and that's where it's at for Rodgers and the rest of them. Was he an overly successful manager for us? Very questionable for me. Very questionable. And like I said, I don't want to be harsh and start saying this and that about him because I've read some horrific stuff online today, and I'm the same as Scotia. I came off social media because of some of the comments, just idiotic at times. I wish you could put a filter on social media for some of these comments, but I'm sure in a week's time, or when this new manager gets appointed and we do reflect on Gerrard, that it will be one of we'll be gracious and we'll be thankful that we had him last season. But I don't think I'll ever look back and think he'll never go down the way Advocat and McLeish and Walter Smith went down for me.
That's fair enough, mate. As I say, time will tell with that in the way that we're going to kind of heal from this, really, because he's arguably won the most important title I'll probably likely see in my lifetime, to be completely honest. But I do think the more I sit and think about it, and even if we're talking about this, I said to you before we come on, this is going to be like my kind of counselling session, because I can't sit and read through all the stuff on social media because it drives me bananas like everybody else. It really does my head in. And the podcast helps me in that, the fact that I can come on and I just pretty much say what I'm feeling. And we spoke about the Malmo game. Obviously, we'll be in the Champions League, and maybe that was it. Maybe we don't know. We're never going to know, really. It might have been he didn't make the Champions League, and he kind of just went, I don't know if I've got another 2 years in me to do this. And you can't disrespect the guy for doing that. Football it's a business. It's jobs to these people. Okay, they get paid ludicrous amounts of money for the stuff that they do, yes, but it's still a job at the end of the day, and it could be personal reasons, it could be for his family, it could be a number of different things. But we're Rangers fans, and our biggest concern about everything that's going on is Rangers. I don't really, in the nicest possible terms, I don't really care what's going on X, Y, and Z. That's not important to me. My most important thing is Rangers, and the way it's happened, it's not a sour taste in my mouth. It's pure disappointment at the way that it's happened. It was just, I even said to Ali and work, I was like, I don't know how I'm meant to feel right now. I'm not really sure how I'm meant to feel. I knew it was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, we all knew it was going to happen. The noise was too big. There was far too much smoke without there being any sort of fire happening somewhere. So it had to be something in it. So I think when it happened, it was just like a sulking feeling. Scotia, I'll ask you the same thing that you said about what I asked Ryan there. Are you at the point where you can respect his legacy? You can look back and thank him for what he's done and be happy about it and move on, or is it cheerio, Stevie, thanks for that kind of thing?
Well, certainly for the title that he gave us last season and how he's progressed us in Europe since he's come in. He took over an absolute shambles of a team, and look where we are now. Like we say, we're sitting nice and pretty at the top of the table at the moment, and good things to look forward to. But equally, if this season goes tits up, it'll tarnish his legacy at the end. So you probably can't have that overall judgment for maybe till the end of this season, depending on how it goes. Because if it all goes tits up, we finish second, we go out we lose all the cups, we go out of Europe, then a lot of people are going to turn around and point the blame at Gerrard, probably. So you need to wait and see. But I'm definitely appreciative of what he's done up to this point. But now he's left, obviously, and it feels like your wife's left for another bloke. It does.
That's quite close to how it feels, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's the reasons why did he leave. One thing I think we've maybe not spoke about it often enough is the impact that COVID's had on football in general, and players stuck, particularly players that are people that aren't local to the area and aren't Scottish. Even down in England, all the travel restrictions, that's perhaps played a part. You've also got the fact that, even for us, the Scottish League can get tedious because you're playing. You can play a team mind the season we were playing Kelly 7 times in the one season. It's always been an issue for me, the Scottish League. I think it should be, this is a discussion for another pod, but I always think there could be more teams in the top flight. It gets tedious, and for someone that isn't a fan of the club, it must be even worse. Does indeed, yes.
Mate, you're spot on about Scottish football, mate. It's a terrible league, it is, but it's our league, and that's where my Rangers and your Rangers, that's where it is, and we have to. That's why we feel about it the way that we do, because it feels personal to us, and it isn't personal. That's the thing. Like, Gerrard's not done this and deliberately pissed off every Rangers fan. He's made a decision which based on best for him and his future, which is fair enough, really, but it still doesn't make it any easier for us because the way we feel about Rangers. And I think that's probably the most clear I'm going to get tonight, because I'll go off in tangents again. Ali, it's rumoured that the conversations between 3 and 4 million. My personal opinion, that's quite a fucking deal Aston Villa are getting, because they're getting McAllister and Beale as well.
Pennies to Aston Villa. They must have been laughing when they had to be that compensation, to be honest. That's nothing to them. That's absolutely nothing to them. And it's disappointing. I thought we might have got more. I know Tottenham say the City, but they got reported 8 million or something for Big Brenda. So it's disappointing when it's that money for the whole back. It is the whole backroom staff that is going. It's only Jermaine Defoe that's left there, I think, on his Todd.
And Jimmy Bell.
And Jimmy Bell. They could be in a dugout for the Hibs game, but it's disappointing because you looked at us as what they got and you thought, well, we should be able to get that for our backroom staff and Gerrard. So it's disappointing in terms of the money, but it's 4.5 million we didn't have anyway. And you look at the finances that just came out recently with Rangers. So, I remember you'll come on to obviously talk about who's been banded about in terms of managers at the moment. But yeah, it is what it is. But I thought it would have been a bit higher. I thought it would have been round about the 8 million mark if I had to put some sort of price on it.
I suppose
you're buying it's mind we bought Kamara for 50 grand and that was just paying out his contract. So that's what's just happened with Villa. Yeah. It's just paying out the contracts. So Rodgers was on more at Celtic, so that's why the fees.
It wasn't on that. It wasn't on that money though.
I know. I think it is. I think it's just. I think I heard David Edgar and their show that came out earlier today saying that's what it's about. It's about just paying out the contracts, the staff. So that's why it's so low. And yeah, I know what you mean. It does feel low, but I think that's the reason why it is.
How much were they paying Brendan Rodgers in that fact then? Jesus.
I think he was the 2 million a year, Brendan Rodgers, I think. He's the highest paid manager in history. So
right. So Ryan, I suppose the conversation really becomes irrelevant. Let's be honest. I think the only thing which we are about to come on to is that might be all we have to play with in terms of getting another manager in.
Yeah, but maybe we could spend a bit and then we'll recoup it with 40 million when we get when Kamara goes to Aston Villa. That might be the case. Or when the rest of them go to Aston Villa. It is pennies for Aston Villa, but I didn't realise that was including the backroom staff. I thought it'd be separate compensation packages for them. I didn't realise that they came as a full package. Yeah, as pennies, but it depends what Rangers' shortlist for their manager is and whether they're already employed. If they're going for someone who's not employed, then it might not cost them as much. But if it's someone who is already in a job, which I very doubt, looking at the rumoured shortlist, then yeah, it's manageable. I know we'll probably get onto it, but I think it has to be, whoever we target has to be familiar with the Scottish game. I do believe that. I think we can't be taking a risk and bringing someone in who doesn't know the Scottish game and it's just a shock there. It's a gamble because we can't give them time. We need this league this year. It's so important, and Gerrard knew that. We know how important it is. We've spoken about it because of the financial aspect of the qualification of the Champions League. So, yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating, the compensation, but it is what it is. It's just the same as the man leaving, and we've just got to go on with it and start again.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, it is generally what it is, and I've been sent messages from listeners. I've been sent messages for supporters of another team in Glasgow, and so I'm always just, it is what it is. You cannot compete with the cash cow that is the English Premier League. You really can't, and the lure might have just been a wee bit too much, but as I say, it's because we're Rangers and that's what we have at heart, that's the most important one. I just feel like 4 million, it's nothing, man. Honestly, I would have done anything to try and keep Michael Beale, because I think he would have been, it might have not been the long-term fix, but I think he could have seen Rangers through to the end of the season. Because without taking too much away from Gerrard, I know he was the manager, but a lot of the backbone in what Gerrard has built was Michael Beale, and I don't think anybody would really disagree with that. Ali, I'll come back to you. We started discussing quite early on, really, once the rumours had started that he'd be going to Villa. Personally, I think we should brace ourselves for January because I see a few names going to Aston Villa.
Yep, that was my main worry, to be honest. I know losing Gerrard is disappointing, everything, but I was looking forward to January. We need to sell somebody in January, to be fair. So I always thought somebody would go, but Connor Goldson is a stick-on to go to Aston Villa. If he doesn't go there, I'd be shocked. Kent is the next one for me. He'll have a go at. I just hope the Rangers board. I just hope that, because he's our blue chip player, Ryan Kent. So he needs to come with big bucks for him. Can't you just pull him down the road just because he's Steven Gerrard and he managed them at Rangers? So, and the next worry is, and I discussed it with you, Carney, is has Steven Gerrard said to these players behind closed doors, "I'll see you in January," in terms of I'll bring you down? Do they? And I hope, I don't know if players would do this, do they put the tools away for the next 2 months in terms of a few of them may know they may be going to Aston Villa in January? But Goldson for me is a stick on to go to Villa. I'd be shocked if he's not, and Ryan Kent. The only other ones I would say, your Joe Aribo's, Kamara's, Tav possibly is a last kind of big payday for him at the age of 30. I think he is now, Tav. But I'd be very surprised if Gerrard didn't come up and have a sniff at us in January, because he's built that team himself. He knows the players inside out, and he'll be having a look. Villa's got some good players, to be fair to Villa, so I mean he'll have a look at them first, see what they're all about. But I'd be very surprised if he doesn't come sniffing about us in January. And we'll need to brace ourselves for January. Yeah.
Ryan Curry Muncher says Haga. I don't know who Haga is. No, Hadji. I think, in all honesty, I think Hadji's not ready. I think if Hadji was 2 or 3 years down the line, possibly, yes, but I don't think Hadji's ready. Ryan Kent, I just can't see how Gerrard won't come and take him. I really can't. Gerrard is going to get, I don't know how much money he's going to get. Obviously, they sold Grealish for 100 million or whatever it was, which is a ridiculous amount of money. Obviously, he's not going to get the full whack of that to come and spend, and he's obviously not only going to look at Rangers, but he has worked with these players, and Leeds weren't sniffing about Ryan Kent for no reason, put it that way. So I think it's a way into the Premier League for some of our players, and Ryan, it could be an offer. Well, if the money comes in with Gerrard, we won't be able to say no to that, but I don't think the players would say no either, to be honest.
No, I don't think they would. You can tell a lot of them have got quite tight bonds and relationships with Gerrard. He's given them an opportunity at a big club. I saw a comment a few moments ago there saying we can't afford to lose. I think it was Kent and
Aribo, I think.
Was it Aribo, was it? Doesn't matter if we can't afford to lose them. If their offer's right, Rangers are a business and they will take the money, and that's something we need to accept. So if they come in with big money, these players will move on, whether it's to Aston Villa or anyone else. I would be very surprised if one or two of them have not already had some sort of conversation about that, whether it's with Gerrard or between them in a WhatsApp or whatever. Very convenient that Connor Goldson hasn't signed a contract. That's going to be interesting how that materialises over the next couple of months, because we're all expecting him to go anyway. As you know, I'm a big fan of Kamara. I do think Kamara could walk into any team in that Premier League. I'm not saying he's the best midfielder in the Premier League, but he could walk into any team, just the style he plays football. We need to ask for big money for him and Kent. I look at him and Kent as big assets. And if Ali's man as well, Gerrard's a huge fan of Aribo. Mm-hmm. He's quoted, I think it was Halliday said on a podcast, I think it was when Halliday was at Rangers, Halliday said that Gerrard walked into the dressing room and said, "You, Joe, I'll take you anywhere I go, I'll take you." That's how highly he rates him. So yes, as Ali said, brace ourselves for January. But the new manager needs to have a conversation and say, if any of you have got an eye and going in January, play for your move, get us the money, because I want to bring my own men in.
Yeah, again, mate, I think you are spot on. I don't think Gerrard's going to come up and wipe out the team in terms of taking the first 11, but however, we do know that Gerrard likes quite a big squad. So I've seen a comment there, sorry by the way, but not getting everybody's comments. There is a lot coming in. I am trying my best. We're quite new to this live thing as well, so I find myself getting lost reading people's conversations when I might be hosting a podcast. But I've seen a comment about the signed Leon Bailey. Now that's the kind of player that whereabouts Kent would play, but there's no reason to say that he wouldn't have Kent as the understudy to that, or to have both of them for an option for example. So yeah, Kent and Kamara and Aribo, I think, are the top ones, and as Ali said, Goldson's at the end of a contract, so it's a no-brainer for Gerrard, and it doesn't cost him anything. It really doesn't. I mean, the money that Villa are going to have to spend and they'll give to Gerrard, he can't compete with that. I think David Edgar's stat on today was you get 170 million for finishing bottom of the Premier League, but you get £4 million for winning our league. I mean, that's not even a comparison, really. It really isn't. Scotia, your thoughts on your players potentially leaving, mate?
Yeah, the three that have been mentioned, really, Goldson, yes, he's going. I was saying in the pod we done on Tuesday that I was speaking to my manager who's a Villa fan, and then again today he messaged me at about 10:30, but I'd put my do not disturb thing on when the news had broke at about 10, so I was chatting to him about it, and I was like, yeah, Goldson's at the end of his contract, you can get him on a pre-contract for the summer or pretty much peanuts in January. Obviously they've got Tyrone Mings in there at centre half, but I'm not. Who's the other one? Is it Matt Wallace?
Conser. It's not Conser.
Conser, right? Yeah, but I've not really watched Villa that much this season, so I don't know how they are defensively. Clearly not great over the last 5 days.
Well, clearly not very good, Scotia. Yeah.
But the two, Kent and Aribo, they've only got 1.5 years left in their contracts. Their contracts run out in the end of next season. So they will need to get sold in January or the summer, because I don't see them extending their contract with Gerrard not being there. So I think we need to brace ourselves for them to leaving in the next 2 transfer windows. And you need to do it because we want to get the most money back for us to reinvest in the team. There's a lot of players that Gerrard could look at, but again, I've said on Tuesday night, Villa have got a pretty good squad. They've just been performing rotten in the last 5-6 games. Yeah. They've got a good enough squad. I mean, the thing with Villa as well is the last time they done anything of note was back, in 2010 when O'Neill was the manager. When they were fit, I think they had a few successive 6th place finishes in the Premier League. And then, since then, they've kind of flirted between mid-table and the Championship. And, they've not done anything to note, really. So I don't think he'll come in and grab everyone, but Kent and Aribo are big worries, concerns for me, because we've been saying it all season. They're 2 of our most important players. And I think we need to brace ourselves for them leaving over the next 2 windows.
Yeah, my big cousin David's his second team as Villa. He's very much a blue nose, but his dad's originally from Birmingham, Tamworth, so he grew up a Villa fan. And he'd have been good to have on this podcast, to be completely honest, but he's just about to become a Rangers dad, so hope everything's going well, David. So we'll move on now to what's next. In terms of a successor getting named, it's going to take time. I think a lot of people are like, get it in by the weekend. That is not going to happen by the end of this weekend. It just isn't. I would be shocked if there's anybody even in place for the semi-final, to be completely honest, because we have to get this correct. Ali, I'll come back to you. This is where Ross Wilson earns his keep.
Yeah, I said to you today at work, I know that's his job. He will have names already in place, even when Gerrard was manager. That's his job in case this happens. He can't not have a plan B in terms of if this happens and we've got nothing to go to. He'll have names sitting there. I'm convinced about it. Some of the names I've heard floated about, that's a different story. Russell Martin appeared on Twitter last night, which shat myself at that. They actually done all right. MK Dons, and he's doing all right with Swansea at the moment, but that's a no for me. Derek McInnes is the next one. Sorry, you don't get asked twice to be Rangers manager, so he's a no for me. There's a few of them. Alec Neil for Preston, nah. So, the one floating about, which a lot of Rangers fans are kind of getting behind now, is Van Bronckhorst. Mm-hmm. He's an ex-Rangers player, which to me doesn't really matter, but he's an ex-Rangers player. He's had success with Farnard. He kind of plays the same philosophy in terms of the way we play at the moment with the 4-3-3. So I know Curry Muncher wants Martindale in there. He's a good Rangers man, Martindale. So I know you were in actually, Carney, you were in Livingston today, and I did say you could actually go and get Davy Martindale.
He didn't answer the door, mate. I chapped the door, but he didn't answer.
And to be fair, he hates that mob on the other side of the city, and he always gets good results against them, so he could be a shout, Curry Muncher. But no, I think, do we go completely left field? To me, we've done that with Kashinya, and at the end, it was a disaster, so that's a no for me. Van Bronckhorst, you could say it's slightly left field, but I don't think so. He's managed in that Dutch league with Feyenoord. He won their first league title after something like 18 years. He knows Rangers. He knows what Scottish football's about. He gets us. He's the obvious choice, I would say, at the moment. And he's on a free as well. So when he costs us money.
Just got a notification on my phone, and since we have been recording, James Tavernier has released an Instagram post saying he would like to thank the gaffer, Gary McAllister, Michael Beale, Tom Coulshaw, Jordan Milsom and Scott Mason for everything they have done for me personally, for my family, my team and our club. We've achieved so much together. We as a team have grown. We demanded more from one and another, but most importantly, we've developed into better players and better people. The club is in a better place. Of that, I have no doubt. The cherished moments will be forever special, bringing home 55. Now, as a team, we will be fully focused on the next chapter that's to come. So it's not. We've never done it's not a breaking news, but we've never really done it live. It's going to matter. So obviously the team are now fully aware. Clearly, Tav's now come out and said that. And look, you can't really criticise anything that they're going to say. Gerrard has been a massive part, but we'll move on to who we think probably is going to be next. Ryan, am I right in saying? Do you agree with what I said that? This won't. I don't think this will be a particularly quick process that we go through to name the successor.
Yeah, just before I do, I think those are nice words from Tavernier. And I don't want to touch on this too much about Gerrard, but that's a perfect example of your reaction will change and your appreciation of what he's done will change, because James Tavernier is a perfect example. His standards went to crazy heights last season. And it's because of what Gerrard demanded of him. He set standards of his own to the players and the staff and said, this is where we need to be, because our standards were appalling before he came in. We were getting humiliated by them 5-0, I think the last score against them was before he came in. And obviously progress, etc., etc. But as I said, don't want to dwell on it too much, but that's a perfect example of your reaction probably will change. You'll appreciate it going forward. With the appointment, Rangers aren't going to rush in. They can't get this one wrong. We're not even in the middle of the season. November, probably the most important season in the past 10 years because of the financial rewards. Yes, we had to stop 10 as a fan base, as a club. We need this Champions League and we need the Champions League money. And that was one of Gerrard's objectives. He would have known that. That would be the big season this season. So we can't make a mistake with this, and this is why I think they need to make sure. And the options there's not a lot of options out there, but it needs to be somebody who knows the Scottish game. We can't take a risk with this one. We need to hit the ground running with it, and Van Bronckhorst looks like the obvious one. My mate JJ's got his heart set on it. I'm kind of the same, but I always feel that managerial appointments can be underwhelming at times, so I'm scared to kind of emotionally commit to it. But Van Bronckhorst does look like the obvious one, especially because he's unemployed at the moment. He knows what's required at this club. He did it. He's won trophies as a player, and he's done the business with Feyenoord as well. And he looks like the obvious choice, but I don't expect Rangers to rush into it over the weekend.
No, I definitely don't think it'll be over this weekend. I get that idea out of your head. I just don't see that happening at all. Gio, I do get that. Ali, we mentioned it, and obviously the Russell Martin one came out and kind of poo-pooed pretty immediately that it was just made up nonsense. You might as well link Andy Halliday with the job, really, instead of Martin. But I mean, people like McInnes' name's going to continue to get brought up, obviously. In my opinion, he said no once, he should not be anywhere near this football club. Alex Neil as well, just the most uninspiring name you can possibly imagine. It's no disrespect to him, it's just not inspiring at all. I would rather Rangers took a risk, not a calculated risk as such. For example, if we are going to go down the route of getting somebody in until the end of the season, bring Kevin Thompson back from Celtic Hearts and give him till the end of the season. Somebody that knows what this club is all about. He might not be the greatest manager and it might fall flat on its arse, but at least you can say it's not someone that you kind of picked out of nowhere. Gio is obviously top of the bookies to be the next manager, but the bookies are really worth not very much in this, let's be completely honest. Scotia, your thoughts on what's next and who's potentially next?
Yeah, so there's 2 points I agree with you. Is that it's not. I don't think it'll be rushed completely. So looking immediately ahead, we've got to have someone in place to lead the team for our next 2 games, I would imagine. It'll maybe be done prior to the Sparta game, but certainly for the League Cup final. So is it Defoe?
Jimmy Bell.
Throw out one here. Jimmy Bell. I'll throw.
I take it.
Fucking Jimmy Bell.
Staunch.
I said it to use in the chat, and I'll watch the comments light up here. But get Shelley Kerr and Neil McCann from RTV to come down, because they've watched us enough. Yeah, watch the comments flash up. So that's the immediate concern in terms of the next game or two, is that. But manager to come in, I mean, I wore this top on purpose because I want it to be Gio. My only fear is, will he accept the kind of financial limitations that we've got as a club? Would that be something that puts him off? You've mentioned some of the names that have been getting bandied about. Had a wee look at the bookies list there. You had John Terry, no thank you. Seen some people pop up Frank Lampard, but I think he's all but confirmed at Norwich.
Yeah.
Rino Gattuso's one he's obviously out as well. Obviously connections with us. His missus is Scottish. He would probably undo all the work that Gerrard's done to kind of calm down Morelos' temperament, though. So we can go back to the old Alfie if Rino were to come in. A wee name that I did see, I don't know much about him because I've not watched La Liga in a long time since it's went off Sky, but it was Diego Martinez he's out. He was the Granada manager, brought them up to La Liga, finished 7th and 9th. So seen that, and that was a wee bit interesting, but I don't know if that's far too left field again and taking a bit of a gamble, sort of similar going down the Caixinha route there, although he's obviously knows more about European football. But for me, I think it has to be Gio is my preferred choice at the moment. But I'm just worried that it wouldn't appeal to him in terms of the financial limitations in Scotland.
Yeah, but as Ryan mentioned, the carrot at the end of this season might entice him because it would seriously change the kind of whole face of the club, the way the club's being run and the whole business models that they're building on. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. Also, who's the Norwich guy that gets sacked? What's his name again? Somebody remind me.
Oh, the porn star guy.
Aye, him. Yeah, so I did have him.
Can't remember.
What's his second name?
I know who you're on about, yeah.
Somebody will tell me in a minute.
Can't remember.
So, but
there's
I
also sorry, I was going to say
Daniel Fark. Daniel Fark.
That's the one. Yeah, that's
a few comments. Nuno Espirito Santos, obviously, he's just come out of a job, done pretty well at Wolves.
Literally everybody's saying Fark.
And then the one there, I seen he was kind of considered the Bodo Glimt manager. I think he was in the running for the Aston Villa's list, as it were. What's his name? Newton or something like that. No.
These names are making me nervous, Scotia. These names I don't know are making me very nervous. I don't want to hear any more. I
know. I just hope it's a name that we know and a name that we know that we can get behind. I think that's what we're all probably looking for. Look, the club have to get this right. It does need to be done swiftly, but not so quickly that it's just a knee-jerk appointment and we're left with somebody that we just really don't want and doesn't really understand the job. Time will tell on this one, but as I say, I think it will take a bit of time for the appointment to be made. Ali, we've now been on about an hour, mate. So what's your final thoughts, mate? What's your finishing thoughts on Steven Gerrard?
Like I said at the beginning, I've had time to sort of brace myself for it this week because it's been rumbling for a couple of days there, but disappointed. We all know like I said, it's a timing. It's a timing because it's not ideal going into a semi, going into that big game in Europe, and then that dreaded December we've got coming up, which is a make or break in terms of the league. To be honest, because if we can sail through December, then you're nearly there. But it's disappointed. He did do it. You can't say he's not done a good job for Rangers. He has. I know he's only won 1 in 9 trophies, which others say this City keep going on about, but the one he did win broke their hearts. So fuck yous. He's come in. He look at the Rangers team when he came in. It was a shambles. He's come in, built a Rangers team. It took him time to do that. We've got a Rangers team to be proud of at the moment. We're sitting top of the league. We're 4 points clear. We're still in Europe. We're in all the cups. We're in a semi-final. We're a very attractive football club to come and manage. I'm sure there'll be lots of managers and agents touting everyone to come to Rangers now. But I mean, thanks for winning the title last season, Stephen. But now we move on. No man is bigger than Rangers, and we need to get this right. As I said, same with you, Carney. I don't think it'll be done in a week, even 2 weeks. I think we'll take our time. We'll potentially up to a month, possibly, which isn't ideal, but we need to get it right. And we need to move on. And I just hope a week on Sunday, this will galvanise the Rangers support. Like we don't need it, to be honest. and Jimmy Bell will lead us out to the final of the League Cup.
Can you imagine the scandal, mate? The Moonhowlers would not be able to deal with that. And I do thank the Moonhowlers for the lovely comments they're leaving in the comments tonight. You're helping my podcast, so batter on, lads. Honestly, it doesn't bother me one bit at all. Ryan, thank you very much. Your final thoughts on Gerrard tonight, mate?
Well, first of all, you're welcome. I know Stephen and Gary and Michael will be watching, so I do want to say thank you, because they took us to the next level. There's no doubt about it. They took this club to the next level. They set the standards, and they gave us, for last season, probably one of the best seasons I've ever known as a Rangers fan, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. What a laugh at them. It was just phenomenal. It was great, and Rangers put a product on the pitch I was proud of, and I've said a few times, I got a buzz out of watching them off the ball and hunting packs and the press and the goals he scored and hammering them. It was a great season. I really enjoyed it in the European runs, etc. It was brilliant. So I do thank them for that, but I'm not angry. I'm disappointed in them. But Rangers do move on, and we will move on, and I am excited for the future. And let's go for 56.
Let's go for 56, definitely. Scotia, your final thoughts tonight, mate?
Yeah, I mean, as I've mentioned before, it's going to take a while. My opinion's going to change over the coming days and coming weeks about the team. But I would echo what Ryan said there about, thanks to them for giving some sort of pride back to Rangers, because they took over when we were a shambles. We had 10 years of absolute torture, and we're now back kind of the top of Scottish football. We've had the most sustained decent periods in Europe under Gerrard, and we've become, I think, teams in Europe and the continent are starting to respect us again now. So they need to thank them for that. But it's just gutted, angry. But I'm getting at the stage today, and this has helped, just getting at the stage of acceptance. And we need to look forward and move on. As people sort of have been saying, as Ali said, no one's bigger than Rangers. It's about moving forward. We've lost really good managers in the past, so we can move forward, and we will. And 56 is incoming.
As onwards and upwards we go. So that'll do us tonight, lads. Thank you all for coming on. Shameless plug for people that have just found us, including you, Timmy. I can see you. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the videos, give us a wee 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, like and share anywhere that you can. Thank you for all the comments. Literally too many to keep up with, to be completely honest, but we appreciate it. And it's not the news that we wanted. The timing is terrible. There's not going to be any doubt about that, but we dust ourselves off and we go again. We are Rangers at the end of the day, and there is no one bigger than the club. So thank you, Gerrard. Let's begin our next chapter. So we are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and we will speak to you all next time. Cheers, everybody.